The Milky Way galaxy, a swirling tapestry of stars and nebulae, harbored a secret. For millennia, the Galactic Alliance maintained peace. Countless civilizations coexisted in prosperity. Trade flourished, starships traversed interstellar highways, and knowledge reigned supreme. But this tranquility could not last forever. In the shadows, a storm was brewing, threatening the fragile peace. The Galactic Alliance had become complacent, unprepared for the trials ahead. The galaxy stood on the brink of a new age where war loomed once more. On the distant world of Earth, a young and ambitious species had finally achieved its dream of interstellar travel. Humanity emerged onto the galactic stage, eager to contribute to the Galactic Alliance. The Alliance welcomed Earth, granting humanity a seat among the galaxy's oldest civilizations. Earth's arrival sent ripples throughout the Galactic Alliance. Humanity clung to its military might, unlike other member species. This difference was met with amusement and disdain. To the Alliance, humanity's military seemed antiquated. They argued Earth's resources were better spent on scientific advancement, but humanity remained undeterred, valuing peace's fragility. Humanity's cautious nature would soon be tested by an unprecedented threat. Earth stood as a solitary sentinel, ever vigilant for signs of danger. The early days of Earth's membership in the Galactic Alliance were marked by curiosity and apprehension. Humanity eagerly embraced new technologies and knowledge. The Galactic Alliance was intrigued and slightly unsettled. Humanity's adaptability impressed the other races. Cultural differences posed challenges, yet a shared sense of wonder united them. But a new threat was emerging, one that would shake the Galactic Alliance to its core. Humanity would confront its destiny. The first sign of trouble came not with a bang, but with a whisper. A distress call, faint and garbled, from a remote outpost on the fringes of Galactic Alliance territory. The outpost, a small mining colony, had gone silent, its last transmission a jumble of static and panicked cries. Initially dismissed as a local anomaly or pirate attack, but as more outposts went dark, the Galactic Alliance faced a terrifying possibility. The silence that followed was deafening. Trade routes fell quiet, starships hesitated, citizens gripped by fear and uncertainty. Panic spread like wildfire. What was this unseen enemy? The Galactic Alliance paralyzed by indecision, their fleets a shadow of former glory, weapons outdated, warriors soft, fear gripped even seasoned leaders. Amidst chaos, Earth stood apart. Humanity uniquely equipped to face the threat. Earth remained resolute, a beacon of hope. Humanity stepped forward to lead the Galactic Alliance through the storm. The Grand Council chambers of the Galactic Alliance were heavy with dread. Representatives huddled in tense groups, their eyes reflecting fear. The news from the frontier was bleak. Entire star systems had gone dark. Survivors brought tales of unimaginable horror. The council was hopelessly divided. Some argued for retaliation, others called for diplomacy. They clung to hope. But no one knew what to do. Millennia of peace had left them vulnerable. Earth's delegation, led by General Petrov, watched. Petrov had seen the price of unpreparedness. The fear was palpable. Their indecision filled him with certainty. Petrov rose from his seat. His presence commanded attention. He had a solution, but it would be met with skepticism. Petrov proposed a preemptive strike. "We stand at the precipice," Petrov's voice boomed across the hushed assembly. "An enemy of unimaginable power tightens its grip on our galaxy. We have wasted precious time debating. The time for talk is over. The time for action is now. We must take the fight to them." His words cut through the fear and indecision. A cacophony of alien languages expressed shock and hope. Petrov continued, "We must strike before they strike again. Earth proposes a scouting mission." The council erupted in a frenzy of activity. Petrov listened patiently to their objections, but he also knew that time was running out. We do not have the luxury of fear. We must act, and we must act now. Despite initial resistance, Petrov's resolve swayed the council. The gravity of the threat dawned on the delegates. Earth was now seen as the galaxy's best hope for survival. The council agreed to the scouting mission. General Petrov and his team prepared for the journey. Time was of the essence. Assemble a small elite force for rapid deployment, penetrate enemy territory, gather intelligence, and return. Earth's shipyards were abuzz with activity. Engineers worked tirelessly. They integrated advanced technologies with Earth's warship-class starships. These ships were designed for speed, stealth, and firepower. Petrov assembled his crew. He needed the best skilled pilots, soldiers, and strategists. Individuals with technical expertise and courage. The galaxy hung in the balance. The heart of the scouting mission was the flagship, the Starship Ares. A marvel of engineering, the Ares was a fusion of Earth's military prowess and the Galactic Alliance's technology. Its hull, sleek and angular, was crafted from a newly discovered alloy. Its engines could propel the ship across vast interstellar distances. In command was Captain Walter Somerville with decades of experience in deep space exploration. At the helm was Lieutenant Eric Johansson, a pilot of unmatched skill. Johansson, a veteran of countless skirmishes, was a fearless pilot. His instincts were sharp, his reflexes lightning fast, and his loyalty absolute. Surrounding Johansson were Earth's best and brightest. Ensign John Lee, a tactical genius, plotted the Ares' course. Lieutenant Anya Volkov, a xenolinguist, deciphered enemy communications. A palpable tension filled the air. The crew knew the risks they were taking. Their mission was a one-way ticket into the unknown, but fear was a luxury they could not afford. They were Earth's best hope, and they would face whatever awaited them with grit and determination. The day of departure dawned cold and clear. The Starship Ares, bathed in the pale light of a distant sun, stood ready in its launch bay. On the bridge, Captain Somerville addressed his crew. "We stand at the edge of the abyss," he said. "What awaits us out there, we can only imagine. But we go not in fear, but in hope. Hope that we can protect our people." A low hum vibrated through the ship as the Ares powered up. The crew, strapped into their acceleration couches, exchanged nervous glances. Ensign Lee took a deep breath, his hand hovering over the controls. "This is it," he said, his voice barely a whisper. "Let's show them what we're made of." The Ares, bathed in the blue-white fire of its engines, shot forward. The station, along with the familiar stars of the Galactic Alliance, shrank behind them. The Ares had embarked on its perilous journey. As the Ares sped deeper into the void, the crew worked tirelessly. The fate of the galaxy rested on their shoulders. They were humanity's best hope, a testament to the enduring spirit of a species. Their journey had just begun, and the darkness that awaited them held both unimaginable danger and hope. Days bled into weeks as the Ares hurtled through the interstellar void. The vast emptiness of space, once awe-inspiring, now seemed oppressive. The hum of the engines was a constant reminder of their isolation. Every blip on the sensor screen sent a jolt of adrenaline through the crew. The silence from the Galactic Alliance was deafening. No messages of support, no updates, no signs anyone was listening. It was as if Earth had forgotten them. The weight of their responsibility pressed down on the crew. They were alone, adrift in a sea of stars. Captain Somerville hid his concern behind calm determination. He pored over the scant data, searching for any clue. The reports from the destroyed outpost painted a terrifying picture. The enemy was not a fleet of warships, nor a horde of creatures. It was something far more insidious. It moved through the galaxy like a shadow, leaving only death and silence. What it was, where it came from, and what it wanted remained a mystery. The Ares hurtled ever closer to the heart of the enigma. Section 2. Silent Killers. A sense of unease settled over the Ares, a creeping dread that permeated every corridor. The crew felt watched, hunted. The vast emptiness of space now seemed menacing, filled with unseen eyes. Lieutenant Volkov worked tirelessly, deciphering chaotic enemy transmissions. Ensign Lee struggled with unpredictable enemy attacks. The crew trained relentlessly, preparing for inevitable confrontation. Captain Somerville demanded perfection, knowing their survival depended on it. But fear of the unknown, the silent killers, lingered. Section 3. Echoes of Annihilation. The Ares arrived at a devastated star system following a trail of destruction. Silence and debris marked its passing. The star flickered feebly, shrouded in dust. Shattered planets orbited erratically. The Ares sensors lit up with ghosts of tragedies. Twisted warships drifted aimlessly. Fragments of space stations tumbled lifelessly. The destruction was staggering. Captain Somerville ordered a cautious approach. The Ares picked its way through the debris field. Silence was broken by the hiss of life support. The Ares ventured deeper into the system. Lieutenant Volkov's console crackled to life. Alien signals grew stronger. Volkov struggled to filter the noise. Then a single, clear tone, a beacon from the heart of the destroyed system. Section 4. Confrontation. The beacon led the Ares to a colossal structure, an alien artifact of unimaginable scale and complexity. It dwarfed the Ares, dwarfing even the shattered remnants of the system's planets. This, the crew knew, was the source of the devastating attacks, the heart of the enemy's darkness. Captain Somerville, his voice tight with apprehension, ordered the Ares into a defensive posture. Weapon systems came online, their hum a counterpoint to the alien symphony emanating from the artifact. The crew braced themselves for the inevitable confrontation. As the Ares maneuvered closer, a deep thrum resonated through the void. The alien signals reached a fever pitch, and then, the artifact stirred. Tendrils of light lashed out, snaking towards the Ares with blinding speed. The Ares shuddered as the first energy tendrils struck its shields, the impact rippling through the ship's frame. Alarms blared. Lieutenant Johansson fought to maintain control as the Ares bucked and twisted. "Weapons free," Captain Somerville roared. The Ares returned fire. Beams of energy seared the artifact's surface. Explosions blossomed across the alien structure. The battle raged, a chaotic dance of light and energy. The Ares weaved and bobbed, its weapons spitting defiance. But the artifact continued to lash out, relentless. A massive tendril snaked out from the artifact, wrapping around the Ares' hull. The ship groaned, its shields buckling. Captain Somerville felt the odds of survival slipping away. But he would make the enemy pay and keep fighting to the end. "All power to the main guns," he roared. "Target the heart of that monstrosity. If we're going down, we're taking it with us." The crew prepared to meet their fate, their fingers hovering over the firing controls. Captain Somerville gripped the arms of his command chair, his knuckles white as the Ares groaned under the relentless pressure of the energy tendril. The captain yelled, "Ares, you are built for worse than this!" The bridge lights flickered ominously, casting long, dancing shadows across the faces of the crew. The alien signals, a cacophony of static and screams, reached a fever pitch, their chaotic symphony reverberating through the very bones of the ship. Shields at 10% and failing. Ensign Lee's voice, usually calm and measured, cracked with tension. His fingers danced across his tactical console, but the display offered no solutions. No miracle escape routes, yet the Ares was still holding together against all odds. They were caught, snared like a fly in a spider's web, at the mercy of an enemy that defied all reason, all comprehension. Somerville, his gaze fixed on the main view screen, watched as the energy tendril pulsed and throbbed, its malevolent light reflecting in his hardened eyes. The captain could feel the lifeblood of the Ares draining away, the ship's systems failing one by one under the relentless assault. Like the god of war his ship was named after, Captain Somerville felt no fear, but rather a growing wrath inside. Surrender was not an option, not while a single spark of defiance remained. "Ensign Lee," Captain Somerville said, his voice steady despite the desperate situation, "prepare a full-spread torpedo salvo maximum charge. Target the base of that tendril, where it connects to the main structure. If we can sever that connection, we might just buy ourselves a few precious seconds." Lee, his eyes widening in surprise, hesitated for a moment before nodding curtly. "Aye, aye, Captain. A long shot, but it's our only shot." The Starship Ares, its hull creaking and groaning under the strain, struggled against the energy tendril's grip. Johansson wrestled with the helm controls, fighting to maintain even a semblance of stability as the ship was dragged closer to the artifact's gaping maw. He could feel the heat of the alien energy searing through the Ares' reinforced hull, the very air growing thick and heavy with the stench of ozone and burning metal. Target lock acquired, Lee announced, his voice tight with tension. Torpedoes armed and ready. On the main view screen, a targeting reticule flickered to life, highlighting a particularly dense cluster of energy nodes at the base of the tendril, where it pulsed and throbbed against the artifact's hull. It was a small target, a fleeting opportunity, but it was their only hope. "Lock target and fire when ready, Ensign," Captain Somerville roared, his voice thundering above the emergency sirens for the failing engines and the shriek of tortured metal around them. Lee, his hand hovering over the firing controls, hesitated for a heartbeat, then slammed his fist down. "Torpedoes away!" he shouted, his voice a mixture of relief and desperate hope. A volley of torpedoes, their engines blazing white-hot, streaked out from the Ares launch tubes, their trajectory a calculated arc designed to intercept the energy tendril at its most vulnerable point. The fate of the Ares, the fate of the mission, hung suspended in the balance, riding on the back of those streaking missiles. The torpedoes, guided by AI, screamed towards their target. They sliced through the void, leaving trails of plasma. The crew watched with bated breath. The torpedoes struck with pinpoint accuracy. A blinding flash, a detonation of massive energy. The Starship Ares, scarred but mostly intact, drifted free.
The bridge crew of the Ares, stunned and disoriented, slowly picked themselves up from where they had been thrown by the explosion. Emergency lights flickered back to life, casting long, distorted shadows across the wreckage of the once pristine bridge. Coughing and groaning, the crew assessed the damage, their faces pale in the flickering red light. "Report!" Captain Somerville barked, his voice hoarse but firm. Somerville clung to the back of his command chair, his knuckles white, his eyes scanning the readouts that flickered erratically back to life. The Ares was battered, its systems strained to their breaking point, but it was alive. They had not just survived, rather, just like the god of war, Ares had achieved victory. Shields are down, and weapons systems are offline, Captain, Ensign Lee reported, his voice tight with tension. "We've lost auxiliary power to the starboard nacelle. We're running on emergency life support." Captain Somerville nodded grimly, taking stock of their precarious situation. They were wounded, adrift, and still deep within enemy territory, but they were alive, and that counted for something, a lot of something. "Damage control teams to their stations," Somerville ordered, his voice regaining its usual steadiness. "Ensign Lee, get us a damage assessment. Lieutenant Volkov, I need eyes and ears on that artifact. What happened out there?" As the crew scrambled to obey, Somerville couldn't shake the feeling that the battle was far from over. They had struck a blow, yes, but at what cost? And what awaited them in the echoing silence of that ruined star system?
As the Starship Ares limped through the debris field, its sensors struggling to pierce the veil of dust and energy, Lieutenant Volkov worked feverishly at her station. The alien signals, silenced during the battle, were slowly returning. "Captain," Volkov said, her voice hushed with awe, "I'm picking up something strange. The artifact, it's changing." On the main view screen, the artifact was shifting, morphing into something almost organic. The energy tendrils were being drawn back into the main structure, absorbed into its pulsating core, and then, slowly, majestically, the artifact began to rotate, revealing its full, terrifying glory to the stunned crew of the Ares. It was an eye, a single, colossal eye, its iris a swirling vortex of stars and nebulae, its pupil a black hole, and it was staring directly at the Ares, its gaze filled with an ancient, inscrutable intelligence. In that moment, the crew of the Ares knew they had stumbled upon something far greater, far more terrifying than they could have ever imagined. The bridge of the Ares fell silent, the air thick with tension and dread. The crew stared at the main view screen, mesmerized by the spectacle unfolding before them. The artifact, an eye of unimaginable scale, held them in its gaze. Captain Somerville fought to maintain his composure. The sheer scale of the artifact dwarfed anything humanity had ever recorded. It was as if they were staring into the face of a god. The alien signals intensified, washing over the Ares in waves of raw psychic energy, a focused beam of consciousness, probing, analyzing, dissecting their very beings. Somerville could feel a presence in his mind, cold and ancient. "It's scanning us," Lieutenant Volkov whispered. "Analyzing our technology, our language, our thoughts. It's like it's trying to understand us." Her words did little to alleviate the tension on the bridge. To be understood by such a being, Somerville realized, could be just as dangerous as being annihilated by it. The alien presence in their minds intensified, shifting from passive observation to active communication. Images, emotions, and concepts flooded their consciousness, overwhelming their senses with their alien strangeness. It was a language beyond words, a telepathic torrent of information that threatened to shatter their sanity. Captain Somerville, his hands clenching into fists, fought to maintain his focus, to impose some semblance of order on the chaotic influx of data. He could sense the fear and confusion of his crew, their minds reeling under the psychic onslaught. But he also sensed something else, a glimmer of understanding, a thread of connection being woven between his mind and the ancient consciousness that held them captive. And then, as abruptly as it began, the psychic assault ceased. The alien signals faded, leaving behind a ringing silence that seemed to amplify the frantic beating of their hearts. The crew of the Ares, gasping for breath, looked at each other in stunned silence, their faces pale, their eyes wide with a mixture of terror and awe. What was that?" Ensign Lee stammered, his voice shaky. "What did it want?" Somerville, his head pounding, took a deep, shuddering breath, trying to collect his thoughts. The alien presence was gone, but the echoes of its passing still reverberated through his mind. I think it was trying to communicate," he said slowly, his voice barely a whisper. "It showed me things, images, memories, eons old." The crew of the Starship Ares huddled around the main view screen, their faces illuminated by the ghostly glow of the alien artifact. Captain Somerville spoke of the Watchers, ancient beings who guarded the cosmos. They fought against dark forces seeking to plunge the universe into chaos. The Watchers' numbers dwindled, their battle eternal. The crew of the Starship Ares listened in stunned silence as Captain Somerville recounted the Watchers' tale. The enormity of the conflict was almost too much to comprehend. They were just a single starship, adrift in a universe teetering on the brink of annihilation. What could they do against such ancient cosmic horrors? "The Eye," Somerville continued, "it's a beacon, a last-ditch effort by the Watchers to summon aid. They called out to us, to humanity. We have a choice to make. We can turn back or we can stand and fight. The choice is ours." The crew of the Ares exchanged glances, their faces illuminated by the flickering lights of the bridge. Captain Somerville spoke, his voice firm and unwavering. "This is about the fate of the galaxy, maybe even the universe itself. We've always faced impossible odds. We are the ones who stand between the darkness and the light." One by one, the crew members straightened, their eyes hardening with resolve. "We will fight, Captain. For Earth, for the galaxy, for the memory of the Watchers. We will fight, and we will show them what it means to be human." Their decision was made. They would stand and fight. The Starship Ares, its hull scarred but its spirit unbroken, turned towards the colossal eye that dominated the ruined star system. The decision had been made, the die cast. There was no turning back. Lieutenant Eric Johansson, his hands steady on the helm, guided the Ares towards the swirling vortex. The closer they got, the more reality seemed to distort. "Hold on!" Johansson shouted. "This is going to get rough!" The Ares accelerated towards the eye, its hull groaning under the strain. The crew braced themselves, faces pale with determination and apprehension. The Starship Ares, enveloped in a blinding flash of light, plunged into the heart of the artifact. Time and space dissolved into a chaotic maelstrom of energy and sensation. The crew, their senses overloaded, lost all sense of direction. They were adrift in a sea of pure consciousness. And then, the chaos subsided. The Ares found itself in a realm of impossible beauty. The stars blazed with brilliance, their colors shifting in a cosmic ballet. The nebulae were sentient entities, their whispers echoing in a symphony of light and color. The crew gazed in awe at the spectacle. This was a realm of pure consciousness. This was the domain of the Watchers. The stars coalesced into shapes, forming patterns that flickered across their consciousness. The Watchers communicated in a language beyond words, weaving a tapestry of light and sound that spoke of their ancient history. The Watchers showed them the galaxy as a living entity, a vast network of interconnected consciousnesses. Every star, every planet held a spark of awareness, a fragment of the universal consciousness. They witnessed the birth of stars, the dance of planets, and life evolving on countless worlds. They saw civilizations rise and fall, their triumphs and follies playing out across the eons. But the Watchers showed them the spread of darkness, a creeping blight devouring everything. Worlds consumed by shadow, their suns extinguished, civilizations snuffed out. The toll on the Watchers was immense, their numbers dwindling, their light fading. The crew of the Ares felt the weight of this revelation. They were a single starship facing an enemy that had devoured entire civilizations. Yet, they could not turn away, summoned to play their part in this cosmic struggle. The Watchers, their light flickering, guided the Ares towards the source of the darkness. The journey was fraught with peril, space-time groaning under the strain. The crew witnessed battles on an unimaginable scale, titanic clashes of energy. They saw shattered galaxies, remnants of the Watchers' failed attempts. As they drew closer, they felt a palpable sense of dread, a cold, alien presence. They arrived at a region of space-time so distorted it defied description. The stars were black holes, the nebulae swirling vortexes of dark energy. At the center, a singularity of unimaginable density and darkness pulsed like a malevolent heart. This was the source of the darkness, a being of pure antimatter, a cosmic predator. It had existed since the dawn of time, its hunger for destruction insatiable. The crew of the starship Ares felt a surge of despair. How could they, a single starship, hope to stand against such a force? The Watchers reached out, assuring them they were not alone. The universe was vast, filled with countless civilizations that had faced similar threats. Within every sentient being resided a spark of the same primal energy that fueled the Watchers. The Watchers had chosen humanity for their spirit, resilience, and unwavering belief. The Ares, bathed in the light of dying stars, found itself at the center of a cosmic maelstrom. The fate of the galaxy hung in the balance. The crew of the Ares prepared to meet their destiny. They were humanity's first best hope against the encroaching darkness. The Ares just hung there in the empty darkness, a tiny, brave light. Space itself was bending and shaking like the rules of the universe were breaking down. The black hole in the middle of that pulsed with a scary kind of energy. Gap 2S. On the bridge, Captain Somerville held onto his chair so tight his knuckles were white. Weird alien signals were attacking his mind, almost making him go crazy. He could feel the thing's attention on them like a cold, smart stare. Ensign Lee whispered, his voice full of wonder and fear. He said the energy readings were going crazy, like looking right into a giant exploding star. Lieutenant Volkov murmured something, almost hypnotized by how beautiful and terrifying it all was. Lieutenant Johansson felt a shiver go down his spine. The entity shifted, its attention fully focused on the Ares. Tendrils of dark energy snaked out, reaching for the tiny human vessel. The alien signals intensified, resonating through the Ares hull. Weapon systems online, Ensign Lee reported, but doubted their effectiveness. Captain Somerville nodded grimly, knowing they were outmatched. "All hands, battle stations," Somerville barked. "Fire everything we've got!" The Ares shuddered as its weapons roared to life. The explosions were small, insignificant against the entity's form, The energy beams dissipated harmlessly like fireflies in a raging inferno. The entity continued its inexorable advance. "It's no use, Captain," Ensign Lee shouted. "Our weapons are having no effect." Lieutenant Johansen ignored Ensign Lee, searching for any weakness he might pilot the REs into. He remembered the Watcher's words, their message of hope. The entity fed on the light, the life, the consciousness of the universe. Within every sentient being resided a spark of the same primal energy. "Volkov, amplify the signal from our comms array," Captain Somerville ordered. "Broadcast it on all frequencies, maximum power." Volkov protested, but the captain insisted. "Do it, Volkov! That's an order!" The Starship Ares shuddered as its comms array roared into life. A wave of energy, carrying Somerville's message, pulsed outwards. The entity, momentarily caught off guard, paused in its advance. "This is Captain Somerville of the Earth Starship Ares," his voice boomed across the void. "We are here facing an enemy that threatens to consume everything. We will not surrender. We will fight for our homes, for our families, for the future of the galaxy. We are human, and we do not break so easily. Within each of us resides a spark of the same power that fuels the Watchers. Find that spark within yourselves. Let it burn bright. Let it shine out into the darkness. Together we can push back the shadows. Together we can win this war." The crew of the Ares braced themselves for the final assault. They had sent their message, their plea for help. Now, all they could do was wait and pray. And then, something extraordinary happened. A faint tremor ran through the fabric of space-time. The alien signals flickered, their tone shifting. The entity's form wavered, its outline becoming blurry. From the far reaches of the galaxy came the answer. Points of light began to appear, representing worlds that had heeded Captain Somerville's call. The galaxy was awakening, and the Ares had become the catalyst for a rebellion. The bridge of the Starship Ares erupted in cheers and gasps of astonishment. The crew watched in awe as the galaxy around them came alive. The points of light multiplied, forming a radiant web. The entity thrashed and roared, its pull fluctuating wildly. Tendrils of dark energy lashed out, but the rebellion grew stronger. "They heard us," Lieutenant Volkov whispered. "They're fighting back! By the stars, Captain! They're actually fighting back!" Somerville allowed himself a small, tight smile. "They had it in them all along," he murmured. "They just needed someone to remind them, someone to light the way." The tide of the battle had turned, but the war was far from over. The entity, though weakened, was still a force of unimaginable power. The Ares, battered but defiant, found itself at the heart of a cosmic maelstrom. Fleets from across the galaxy converged on the entity's location. Some were sleek and modern, bristling with weapons. Others were ancient and scarred, bearing marks of countless battles. United now, their differences forgotten, they faced a common enemy. The Watchers observed with cautious optimism. They had gambled everything on humanity's ability to inspire and unite. And so far, their gamble seemed to be paying off. The crew of the Starship Ares fought alongside their newfound allies. They shared tactical data and coordinated their attacks. They were no longer just human, but something more. They were guardians, united to protect the galaxy. The battle raged for an eternity, or perhaps it was only a heartbeat. Time in that realm of warped space-time had lost all meaning. But slowly, inexorably, the tide began to turn. The combined might of 1,000 civilizations proved too much for even the entity's immense power. The black hole at the heart of the entity began to shrink, its gravitational pull weakening. The swirling vortex of dark energy thinned, its power waning. And then, with a final ear-splitting crack, the entity imploded. The black hole vanished, leaving behind a rapidly fading afterglow. The war was over for now. The darkness had been vanquished, but they would always need to prepare for its return. And the galaxy began the long process of healing and rebuilding. In the aftermath, the victorious fleets gathered, their crews weary but jubilant. It was a moment of profound significance, marking the beginning of a new era. The Starship Ares, its hull scarred but its spirit soaring, stood amidst the fleet, a symbol of hope and defiance. From the bridge of his flagship, the Supreme Commander sent a message that echoed across the galaxy. Today, we celebrate a victory for all life in the galaxy. We faced an enemy of unimaginable power, and we emerged victorious. This victory was achieved through courage and unity. The crew of the Starship Ares risked everything to warn us. Humanity will hold a place of honor among the Galactic Alliance. They have shown us the true meaning of courage and hope. Let us honor their memory by building a galaxy united in peace. And as the Supreme Commander's words faded, the fleet erupted in a thunderous salute to the Starship Ares and humanity.